a massive squall line extending hundreds of miles impacted Illinois to Kentucky on Tuesday, August 11th, 2026. What was it? And how did it form? Hey, I'm Chief Meteorologist Tom Wachs. Let's talk about this rare derecho and how it formed. Now, the Storm Prediction Center, which is a government agency in Norman, Oklahoma, you're likely used to hearing about the Storm Prediction Center with the severe weather outlooks that they issue, the slight, enhanced, moderate, high outlooks. They also issue severe thunderstorm and tornado watches across the country, and they are also the one to name this officially as a derecho. So let's talk about what a derecho is and what qualifies this to be a derecho. It is a widespread, long-lived squall line that has to be 250 miles or longer in duration and producing strong straight line winds of 58 miles per hour or greater along most of its path, and producing several reports of hurricane force wind gusts of 75 miles an hour or greater and widespread continuous wind damage along its path. Sometimes you'll hear it called a bow echo, at times as well a bowing segment on the front side of this line of storms as well. So again, this is a long track damaging wind event. Now, with that, let's take a look back at the recap. This started in the morning on Tuesday, August the 11th, rolled right through the Chicagoland area, producing tornadoes even, so there were embedded tornadoes within this. The Gary, Indiana airport reported a wind gust to 99 miles per hour. And I'll tell you, it wouldn't surprise me if it was even stronger than that, because at radar height, we were seeing winds upwards of 120 to 125 miles per hour. In my career, I have never seen such sustained strong winds at radar height out of this. I mean, really scary returns coming in here. Now, you can see, going up to Michigan City, South Bend, and then straight into eastern Kentucky as well. We had this huge shelf cloud that made its way through. That's actually going to be critical to this as well. But this was a huge line of thunderstorms, likely over 600 miles in length. So why was this different from an ordinary squall line that might live 100 miles, do damage, and then fall apart? I'm located in Milwaukee. We see those squall lines quite frequently around here, but not these long-lived, quite long line of thunderstorms. So let's get into the science here. Why did this hold together so long? And there's a lot that has to happen for this to occur. So let's talk about this. On the front side of this storm, there is a gust front or a shelf cloud that comes out the front. And we often see those really represented from viewer photos and so on, that big, long, we call it an Arcus cloud that comes out the front. So just kind of basic thunderstorm dynamics here. You have what's called an updraft and a downdraft in a thunderstorm. So warm, moist air rises up through the thunderstorm, and then you get the cool air, the rain-cooled air, and the rain that comes down in the downdraft of the thunderstorm. That in turn, that cooler air creates what's called a cold pool, and that shoots out, think of it like a mini cold front, that shoots out the front side of the storm, okay? And that creates this gust front because the cool air is dense, so the cool air comes down towards the ground. The warm, moist, unstable air is then slantwise pulled up into the storm. That is not only creating that shelf cloud, but it is also creating a circulation, a horizontal circulation on the front side of the storm. So that is circulation number one. In conjunction, there is another circulation that develops. So the cold pool is creating its own circulation. You see that they're moving out of the backside of the system, right? So you see that cold pool circulation. But then there is another circulation that is caused by the wind shear. And I know I'm kind of getting in the weeds here, but this is really important. Wind shear is the changing of the wind direction and or wind speed with height. And what we specifically look at in this case is line normal wind shear, or that wind shear across the line of thunderstorms. That wind shear is creating a second circulation also in the horizontal. And when that circulation combined with the cold pool circulation are in harmony or in balance with each other, that will keep this squall line continuing. If one of those circulations is out of balance, what we often see is that one of the circulations gets out of balance and causes that cold pool to surge out ahead of the line. That gust front surges out ahead, and then it shuts off the storm, causing the storm to weaken. That's typically what happens. But when conditions are just right and you get that balance, those two circulations remain in balance, in turn causing that squall line to last for, in some cases, over 600 miles like we had in this case. All right, so again, I know I just threw a lot of information out at you here. We could go even further into this and talk about what's called a rear-inflow jet, which is a part of all of this. It's really a system. Think of it as a big machine. That rear-inflow jet can cause that bow echo to continue as well. It's all tied in together here. And we could go more into this and talk about instability and moisture. So you talk about CAPE in the atmosphere, convective available potential energy, and the very high moisture levels. That in turn is contributing to that strong cold pool, which then in turn keeps that cold pool circulation going. Then you also have to talk about the wind shear and how strong that is, because those have to be, again, in balance for all of this to continue. So again, there's the definition of what a derecho is. There is the recap, but that is why this derecho in particular happened and stayed alive as long as it did. Now, I mentioned I'm in the Milwaukee area. Back on May the 30th and May the 31st of 1998, we had one of these come through the Milwaukee area. It was horrible. Winds of over 120 miles per hour in southeastern Wisconsin. They happen, and we've heard from many people in Iowa several years ago that horrible derecho that happened. Share with me in the comments if you've been impacted by one of these derechos. They happen, but they are somewhat rare. Reason why is because you have to have those circulations be in balance, and really all of these ingredients have to come together just right.